Hello, people. Welcome to All Day Both Ways, episode number 8. I think we've got today. This is your host Andrew Hall at Andrew Hall FF at the on Twitter at All Day Both Ways for the podcast. But with me, of course, in the B chair tonight, we've got Jordan Rains. How are you tonight, Jordan?
I am lovely. Good to see all of you happy, bright, shining faces out there, ears listening. Happy to see Andrew's happy, shining face here as well. Even though he's a Bengals fan, we still have a little love. So, how you doing, buddy?
Doing all right. Who day, baby. And at 50 Shades of Drunk on Twitter, if you want to follow Jordan. Again, we're here to help you guys out. This is obviously our show, if you haven't figured it out, is aimed at new users. And we're always trying to find ways to get people excited about the NFL All Day platform and getting moments and seeing what the utility is and buying what you love, collecting what you love. And one of the many different ways that we like to go both directions on here is the fantasy version versus the all day moment version. And that's what we're going to start with. And that's what our topic is going to be tonight, is how the fantasy community and fantasy football can cross over into NFL all day. Now, we've talked about this a little bit in the past, but I feel like it's good to kind of double back and make sure that we're covering every aspect of this. So we've got some fun things lined up for us today, I think. But let's start with some news. I want to make sure that we at least hit on some of this topical stuff. The divisional playbooks have been going on this offseason. We're in July of 2023 at this point, between season 2 and season 3, or series 2 and series 3. They're actually making moments in the historical 2 series right now. And the divisional playbooks have been going on now for, I think, 7 weeks. I think we've got the 7th one is out right now for Christian McCaffrey. And we've got one more to come for the NFC or AFC West, I believe it is. But I don't remember this one. It's too many and it's too clogged down in my brain. But the divisional playbooks, Jordan, have you taken a look at this and kind of have you dove into any of these or gotten into some of the fun playbooks they've got right now?
I took a look at I think it was the NFC one. They dropped it was on Tuesday or Wednesday. It was sometime earlier this week. I
NFC
poked
South,
around
yeah.
it. I poked around a little bit. I completed a couple of, of the shorter markers, but I didn't, I'm still pretty new, so I'm not able to get to that 50, 60, 75 mark yet. But I started, the nice thing about them too is those bars is they sometimes they circle back, so once you start, you can continue on through your journey. So I have like 3 or 4 divisional bars that I'm kind of working my way through right now. So I didn't unlock anything, but I did submit a handful of moments to kind of complete some of the challenges.
There you go. That's the way to do it. So the way I look at this too is a lot of these are geared toward getting new people to buy into the platform, of course. They're also geared at rewarding people that have held moments and have a lot of moments on the platform, like myself, where we've already got a lot of this. It doesn't take a lot of effort for some of us to kind of get into the mindset and kind of get into these playbooks. But it's also a way to give new users a reason to buy something and kind of say, hey, we've got this playbook that maybe it's a play that you really want, which we're going to get into later. But like maybe it's a play that you really want, or maybe it's a play that you remember and you want to get a piece of it. The steps to do it are here. They're all lined out. You can fill out these, simple little submit your plays really, and
Mm-hmm.
you get 5 yards for some, 10 yards for others. Sometimes you get rewarded for base sets. We've done a little bit of this talking before, but I like the fact that it's a divisional playbook and it rotates around in the offseason. I actually kind of dig this. And I think too, again, there is some fantasy aspect to some of this, right? Like we're going to get into later on our moment of the week, again,
Mm-hmm.
foreshadowing. But the point of this whole thing is they're trying to add new moments to the platform that were before they were around, right? Before NFL
Mm-hmm.
All Day was
Yep.
a thing. So the one that they just did, the one they're doing now, I guess, for Christian McCaffrey is for I forget exactly what it is, but either way, it's a Christian
It's
McCaffrey Carolina Panthers moment, right?
yep,
And we've seen
early.
Derrick Henry, we saw Lamar Jackson, again, foreshadowing. We'll get into that one more. But there are a bunch of these fun moments that are coming out for players. Xavier Howard was one.
Yep.
Tyrann Mathieu, like some defensive players are really good here. So I think they're doing a really good job of keeping everybody interested in the offseason, which is really the whole point. The other thing we wanted to mention, which isn't much news, but there is still some news coming down the pipe about Rumble. OTM on the moment, who is kind of a partner with Dapper and All Day. They do their own DFS thing. And we've talked about this a little bit. We don't have a ton of new details, but I always want to mention that whenever we're talking fantasy football and how it crosses over. So again, OTM Rumble is a platform outside of NFL All Day that connects to your wallet and utilizes the moments that you purchase in a DFS style tournament. So you can buy in or get into free ones and then use your moments to compete against other people that have moments also. And again, Jordan, I know we've talked about this a little bit, but what are your thoughts on this? Are you super excited for this like I am, or are you kind of just confused and wondering what's going on there?
It's a little bit of both. I'm
Right.
not confused from how to play fantasy. But for me right now, it's about allocating the right moments, the right players and the right moments to be ready to go into this, something new with an edge, So I'm not jumping in too fast or too hard. I'm kind of slowly learning, slowly poking around, slowly looking at the moments. One thing I would like to, ask you about, as somebody who does this, like, are there any specific player moments that you see out there that you anticipate going up in price that people might want to get in on now? And that's like a real question. Like, if are there, and you probably know, you probably have an eye, I'm sure you've got some set up over there, but I'm kind of trying to figure out which players I want to attack to put onto my fantasy team for this year for moments, because I mean, I'm not like, endlessly wealthy. I can't just roster every NFL player. So I have to be a little,
Yeah.
thoughtful about it. Thankfully, I've got some good players already from some packs from you. Like I've got some Saquon set up. All right. Pretty nice. I have a few other pieces, but I do have a lot of, not, lesser names in the fantasy world. So, right now it's just about slowly learning it, but the season's coming soon, and I know these guys will be at the expo, right? The Fantasy Football Expo. They were last year, and I talked to them very briefly, and I never got into it last season. And I kind of, that's why I'm kind of making up for that now. So
Yeah.
I've just, I'm keeping an eye. I'm following them on Twitter. I've got the notifications on, and I'm just kind of want to see when the format gets dropped, because that's what I always like to do, too. I always do my research, I mean, I know sometimes I seem like I'm just running and gunning out here, but I like to go into the terms and service. I like to go into the rules. I like to go into all of those things and just Bill Belichick it. You know what I mean? I like to see what
Yeah.
I'm working with. And when I do that, then I start kind of layering on top of it. So I'm just kind of being an observer right now. That's kind of why I kind of got into the show with you too, because I knew this is
Yeah.
something I would care about and I want to get more involved in. And I know that football's cyclical, seasonal, so we were going to come back to this. And so I want to be ready. And the reality is too, I mean, this stuff costs money, but
Hmm.
and I want to win some money. And I think that I'm pretty good at fantasy football. And if there's another spot where there's another pool of guys who think they're as good as me or better than me, and I can go play with them, and maybe they can beat me, maybe I beat them, you know. What else is there in life on a Sunday morning? You know what I'm saying?
That's
So
what you're doing. I love it. I love it. So here's where I'll answer your question and then kind of pivot to our first down of this whole night, where we're going to talk a little bit more about fantasy football and how that knowledge can cross over into all day. You mentioned something which I think is a really good way to look at this. These are real money. You're putting in real money for this, right? Like you're spending money on these moments, and then it's like, well, what would be the best bang for your buck, right? Well, so you can go on the marketplace right now, and I can share my screen, even maybe show you some of what I'm looking at here, because I think this might help. So you can go on the marketplace and see exactly what is available right now. You can put that up if you don't mind there, Jordan. The point I'm looking at here, though, is you can see, and let me just pull this guy out. This is easier, right? Nope, that's not easier. Hang on. Hold on. Sorry. Technical difficulties. Hang on.
No, you're
so
fine.
What I'm getting at, though, is you can go on the marketplace right now and see all of these different moments and kind of get an idea of exactly what you want to do. So again, what I've got open here is I went to the marketplace. I sorted by filtered by QB position. And then I put in another filter that was a max price of $10, right? So it filters it out and it just says, all right. And then I wanted to go by high to low. So what's the most expensive player that I can get? What's the best player? Now, again, it puts Trevor Lawrence in here for 11. It probably had a recent buy low of 10. But again, Trevor Lawrence for $11. And that's a rookie moment. It's not a debut, but it's a rookie moment from his year. And it was minted on
I'm
his
sorry.
rookie year. Yeah.
I did not. I shared the wrong screen. That's my bad. Here we go. That was me. Sorry.
That's fine. So here we go. So this is Trevor Lawrence. You're looking at this, right? You got $11 for that. You got $10 for Jordan Love, which is his all-day debut. You got Joe Burrow, $9, Herbert, $9, right? But if you go all the way to the bottom, and this is something I really like to do on some of this too, is just kind of like look through some of this. You got Tua for $6, Derek Carr for $6, Justin Fields. You got Brock Purdy rookie moment for $8, Mac Jones, 3 Badger for $8, right? But you keep going down. You see Kirk Cousins for $5. You see Mac Jones for $4, Dak Prescott for $4. So for fantasy's sake, you can get some of these guys that you might want to start in fantasy for relatively cheap right now. This is a great time to join the market. Ben Roethlisberger, we don't need him in Rumble at all, right? We're not going to be playing him. But Aaron Rodgers, I might play him $4. Dak Prescott, again, $4. Right?
Can
Taylor
I pull up
Heineke down here at $3.
Can I hop in here real quick?
Go for it.
So I jumped on the Moment site and I just took a look. So this is kind of the Rumble. This looks like what their payout structure is going to be. So it looks like every week there's a $10K prize pool. First place looks
Well,
like
I think
15.
that was their last year's
Is this last
information.
year's?
Yes. So, and that's where I don't know exactly if that's the same. And that's where I
Oh,
just want
you're
to
right.
clarify before
Yep,
we get too far.
2022. You're right.
So there is
Well,
some new
phooey.
stuff coming out, and I don't want to get into that until we know for sure what it's going to be. So let's just keep it like legitimate. That's what it was last year.
Okay,
It'll be
okay,
similar. It'll be
okay,
similar. I know you're
Andrew.
excited. I know I'm excited, but let's just hold tight. The
Andrew
point
doesn't
I'm
want me to
getting at,
have
and the
fun,
reason I'm doing
guys.
all of this, to
Andrew
answer
doesn't
your
want me to
question though,
have
like
fun.
use your fantasy stuff to your knowledge. That'll still be something that can come in handy, right? But if we're looking down here, we got $3 Matt Stafford. Well, hell, $3. I might start Matt Stafford in fantasy, right? On a DFS lineup. $3 ain't much. Kyler Murray for $3. That ain't much, right? And we're not even talking about the moments or the plays or anything like that, right? So you might say, hey, Matt Stafford for $3. Let me go see what this moment is. Let me see if this is one that I really want anyway. Right. And of course, because I'm in shopping mode, it doesn't take me to the actual, I hit the buy, not the actual moment. You can see somebody selling one for $1 million, which I love when that happens. But here's the actual play, right? This is in the Super Wild Card Weekend, Series 1. Nice pass to Tyler Higbee, I believe that is.
Yeah. I think
Right.
Kyler
So
Murray.
it's a little player melt action for Matt Stafford here on this championship Wild Card Weekend. Right. So, like, this is a Matt Stafford moment that you're going to be able to own for $3. Right. And so, again, the logic goes here. If you have, like, here's another great pass to Cooper Kupp. I miss Cooper Kupp. Can't wait for him to come back. But the point of this point is where I'm going with all of this, right? You mentioned before, like, well, how do we know what to buy? Well, this is where you can use your fantasy knowledge and your fantasy expertise and say, hey, I think this player is going to be in for a big year, right? You can look at this. And again, I'm just using it for this one time. Like, let's clear this. And let's just say, I really like Jahan Dotson this year. Of course, it gets me out when I clear the filters. But let's say I really like Jahan Dotson this year, right? So I can go in here and say, what's Jahan Dotson got for a moment? Here's Jahan Dotson. Let's see what he's got, right? I think it's got 2 moments. Yep. He's got a rare for $33 or a common for $4, which is his debut. Well, $4 for Jahan Dotson, that ain't bad. I might start that. That's a differentiator. Not everybody's going to have Jahan Dotson in their lineup, right? And $4 isn't bad. That's a pretty good low entry point. We were just looking at $3 moments before.
Yeah.
But the rare being 33, that's not bad either, right? Like, that's not bad either. I don't mind that for a rare entry.
That's actually,
rares
yeah,
are between 25 and 35 for the floor. So again, it depends on what you think is going to happen. It depends on what you think and your fantasy knowledge, how you can apply that to this moment. So that's basically the thrust of it. What other questions do you have here, Jordan? I'm sure you got a ton.
I didn't have any questions. I kind of have comments. So
Go for it.
I'm just thinking about this again, like, from how do we win? You know, okay, how do you want to win? How do you have a plus EV season doing Rumble? I mean, you could theoretically go buy all $2 moments. That's floor, you know, you could. And then you could submit a lineup every single week in Rumble at floor with a chance to win in a contest that's going to have lower, you know, less than a major fantasy outlet's going to have. And let's say you don't win any money all season. You can sell all those moments back at floor. Odds are a lot of them are probably going to have increased price.
Bingo.
Okay. And let's say that doesn't even happen. Let's say a better scenario happens. You get a bunch of really good floors, you know what I'm saying? And you win a couple of weeks. And then you can still sell those moments. You know what I mean? So it's kind of an interesting little way to get in and out of the market without, like, you can definitely mitigate your risk in this sort of fantasy setting. Yeah, you're buying the pieces that you play, but you can turn right around and sell those pieces. So imagine going into a fantasy draft, and every year you draft, you can draft or trade those players back for the cost. You know what I mean? So it's really interesting. You know, that's a mechanic or a piece that I didn't really click to me till just now, when I was like, okay, so I could do all $2 moments. That's floor. Get a full lineup every single week. I throw them into this. You know what I mean? It's
just to
like
see what happens.
Just to see what happens. Even if I don't win 1,500, I mean, if I won 60, 70 bucks all season and then I sell all those moments back, I mean, that's always going to be, that's like a profitable thing. So again, it's one of those things where it's the pieces, it's the doing, it's the actual opening the door, taking a step out, taking the next step. It's the doing that is tough, you know, and that's the differentiator between people that are going to, you know, get good moments, get good seasons and profit, you know what I mean, and have a come up off of these things versus the people that are going to, you know, just kind of see this happening in their periphery while they're watching football. So this is a huge thing that I think people are just like not really seeing, you know.
To your point too, look at this. Christian Kirk for $2. I can buy a Christian Kirk moment for $2. I think he's got some fantasy value in DFS lineups. And again, why not? Like, that's a floor. Why not go buy that one, right? And again, I'm just sorting the entire market from $2 up. You see all these $2 moments we still have on the platform. Curtis Samuel's now up to $3, right? So
there's a huge edge here. There's a huge edge here in Rumble this year. I'm as I'm looking at this, I'm just becoming more and more aware of it. I need to be, I need to take this a little bit more. Now that we're getting to fantasy season, you
Well,
can
now we're
tell
getting close.
I've
Yeah.
done the lean forward part of my sitting in the chair.
Well, the other thing I always find interesting about this is like you see players like Kyle Rudolph. Like, remember Kyle Rudolph? Like, oh, he was good.
I love Kyle
He's an
Rudolph.
all-day debut moment for $2. There are sometimes where a debut moment can come in handy to burn or for like challenges or whatever. Like even buying $2 moments that are debuts. You look at this, Joe Schobert, right? Your
I
Steelers,
love Joe Schobert.
10,000 minted. It's an all-day debut for $2. 3,000 of these have been burned.
I think I have one of those.
So, well, you probably do because I think I gave you one. But the point is, there's only 7,000 of these left. Right. This is now becoming more rare because people are burning it. So $2 for us out of 7,000 moment, that ain't bad. Right. And kind of even just looking at some of these other ones, you got like only 300 of Austin Hoopers have been burned. Right.
There are like, so many things you can do on this platform that I just am like,
here's Curtis Samuel with 3,000 moments burned. Right.
I mean, he was like wide receiver. He was like wide receiver 1 through the first 4 or 5 weeks of last season. You know what I mean? Like, it's just insane.
Well, here, DeAndre Hopkins, $3 for DeAndre Hopkins with 40 moments burned. But like,
and look at that, it's a common 4,000. So if you go up against somebody with another DeAndre Hopkins moment, but it's like 7,000, this one's going to win. And they might have paid $50 for that moment.
Yeah, this is the one they just made in a draw it up playbook moment. I think it was a playbook, but it was a challenge reward, which is what it's marked. And then it's from his rookie year because it's a legacy historical 2 moment that the ones they're doing right now. So again, there were 4,000 made to order, made to mint, right? Mint to completion. 40 people have already burned that. But again, $3 for that moment, that ain't bad at all. Now you got DeAndre Hopkins you can use in your lineup, right? So that's the fun part of all of this.
This is one of those things where I don't know, every time we sit down, especially again my fantasy brain working, but it's like there's so much utility and value in these that is just not expressed.
Devonta Smith for $3, my friend. Devonta Smith for $3. How do we?
And it's a 5,000. So I mean, he's going to have a look. So you're playing somebody that plays a whole roster full of 10,000 moments. You're instantly already at a huge advantage just by knowing these little things, right? Because the cumulative score at the end is what is a tiebreaker.
Yeah, and it's by your serial, not the total out of serial. But again, your serial is going to be in the top 5,000, right?
Exactly.
So if you have serial 1,200, you're going to, out of the 10,000, 5,000 doesn't matter, but you got a better chance. You're exactly right. Yep.
Oh, this is so. There are so many.
I think he could break out this year. Have a great year.
Huh.
So you see where I'm going with this. So where we're going to land this is kind of first down in a sense, is shopping for moments. We kind of wanted to walk through this. Again, Boston Scott, $3. There's a lot of value there.
Kadarius Toney,
$3, right? Look at this. Kadarius Toney, right? Your man. I know, but like they're $3. Not bad, right? From last year's championship season, right? So Tyler Lockett, again, going underrated. All it takes is $2 or $3 to make yourself a lineup. It's not hard. It's really not that hard. Quarterback's probably going to be the most expensive, and even then has a ton of down the road value as well. Right, AJ Dillon. You think he's going to come out? This is his all-day debut moment. $3, and again, $3.
So cool.
You have the chance to win hundreds of dollars a week, like in DFS lineups. You can invest. Let's say you invest $50. You put in $50, and you put, like you just said, you put in $50 worth of moments. You put them all in the Rumble. You might win $100 one of those weeks. You've already doubled your investment, and you get to keep those moments. Now those are free moments that you can then trade back if you want, sell at the end of the season, do more, buy more moments. And that's kind of what we talked about last time too, is that like Justin Jefferson or like Justin Fields moments, those are with the lower mint counts and like rares and things like that. That's where you can kind of upgrade your lineup and find out, well, what do I want to invest my money on? None of us are rich beyond our wildest dreams. We all have to be a little bit picky with our dollars, right? And so my game and a lot of the way that I did this to start out with was as a collector, I wanted one of every moment. So I went out there trying to get the base set series 1, everything I could do to get every moment in that. And the hardest one, of course, was the Tom Brady debut. That's, $100 moment, even though it's a common, but it's just hard to find. Now it's not as valuable. Honestly, that value's gone down because of Rumble, because now you're not going to play Tom Brady this year. He doesn't have any Rumble value. So that went down a little bit, and nobody's burning it either. So it's just hard to find.
So it's probably a good buy moment, because in 5 or 6, 7 years, when people are wanting the original Tom Brady moment, again, that's where the market part of it comes in. It's almost like a game in and of itself,
Oh, for sure.
It's like dynasty fantasy football. You know what I mean? It's
very
like
similar.
You're just swapping players around all.
Yeah, here you go. See, it's only worth 79 now. His debut. It was at 100 when I bought it. It was about 100, and you see, you got rares and a legendary and even an ultimate for his Series 1 ultimate that they put. There's only one of these. And only one person has it. And it's on the market for $1 million. If somebody wants to buy it, I would also sell that for $1 million. That's a terrific idea. But again, like the legendary out of 29 up for 10 grand, right? Now you got a rare out of 1,200 for 305, which again, that's a pretty substantial amount of money. And then a common out of 10,000, only 2 people have burned this. Because again, why would you burn a Tom Brady debut? And it's $79 now. You could buy that if you think that that's going to be worth something. Notice all of these are Buccaneers moments, right?
Yeah.
So there's going to be time in the historical series where they release moments for him too, where it's going to be a historical Patriots moment. And that's going to be, I'm sure, what we're going to see over the next 2 or 3 years here. But that's pretty much where I wanted to land on some of this for the sake of fantasy. For our second down, then, I'll kind of switch it around from what's on the show sheet. And we're going to announce something on the show here. I don't want to put anything out about it on Twitter yet. I want to see what kind of reaction we can get from people just listening to the show. But we're going to start our own fantasy league for All Day Both Ways. What we're going to try to do, at least to start out with, is if you send us a DM, the first 10 people that send us DMs will be in a 12-team league with Jordan and myself. So he and I will each take a team, and then we'll have 10 people that are joining up in this league. It's going to be a free buy-in, so you don't need to pay anything. But you have to have some other restrictions, which we'll mention here, and we'll put it out on Twitter eventually. But you have to have fewer than 50 moments in your account. So this is specifically targeted toward people that don't have a ton of moments, that are still trying to get up to the platform. You must have created your account in the last 12 months. So I want somebody who is brand new to the platform, which is the majority of people anyway. But I don't want somebody who's been in the moments and kind of figured it out and then got out and is getting back in. We want brand new. You must be following the podcast Twitter. And obviously the All Day Both Ways on Twitter. Follow that one. And then send us a DM either at our handles or at the podcast handle. Send us a DM saying, hey, I won in the league. You can even put hashtag ADBW, All Day Both Ways, whatever you want to do, like as a sign to be like, I won in that league. And again, the first 10 that get in, all right, it's going to be on Sleeper. We're going to set up the settings and do the draft and all that stuff. Once everybody's in, we'll let everybody decide a lot of that. But the point of this is to get people into this from fantasy. So if you follow us in fantasy space and you want to know, how do I get into this All Day Both Ways? How do I get into the NFL All Day platform? Like, we'll help you out. Just join a fantasy league. We've all got tons of them. It's a $0 league, but the winner will get at least 3 gift packs from us. We'll give you 9 moments altogether. So if you win the league, you get 9 moments for free because it's a free buy-in. Come in second, you get 1 free gift pack. And there are a whole bunch of other things that Jordan and I have already talked about to try to reward people throughout the season that we're not going to announce here. We want to sort of see how it goes. But again, if you're listening or you're watching and you won in this league, shoot us a DM. You will get tons of stuff for free throughout the season. I guarantee you that. We're going to make this worth your time. And a $0 league, a lot of people are like, I don't know. We're trying to get you some moments. So the rewards will almost all be all day related.
Yes, sir.
Are you excited about this, Jordan? Are you ready?
I am. I don't usually get excited about fantasy football leagues, especially free leagues in general anymore.
There's so many of them, right?
Because, well, I was actually not part of the great reckoning of a few years ago where everybody over joined. I was kind of backed up. Most I ever got in was like 16. I like to keep it right around 10 or 11, but I like leagues that are active. I like leagues that are different. And another thing I like is like dynasty leagues. They get kind of weird because there's like this there's no end to a dynasty league. It's just kind of like, oh, it's just always there. Leagues like this where it's a redraft every year, you line them up. You know what I mean? It's like you run the race, you see who wins, you go back, then you run it again. You know what I mean? There is no sort of like marathon where people pull away or get left behind. So I'm very interested in our audience coming in and playing with us, getting some new people in here. Definitely also interested in, you know, how we commune over the All Day Both Ways, you know, our community, because you know it is, we know each other through fantasy, but we both like NFTs, we both like the NFL. And I mean, like, that's 3 things right there. Those 3 points made this sort of triangle. Now we're going to be in a fantasy league together with people who listen to us. So I think it's going to be, I'm just really excited to get in there and play some fantasy football with people that really like all the same things I like, you know what I mean? And both ways. Not going to push for us to have IDP, although I really hope we can slot in a couple of flex spots, no big deal. But you know,
I'm fine with it. We'll talk about it once we get people in the league. That's what I keep saying. Like, we're not talking settings yet. We're just talking league. And then once the group is together, then we'll decide settings. So we want you guys to have some input on what we're doing. So a lot of that is going to be put up to user vote and things like that. Like when all the league members are in there, then we'll decide, right? If Jordan's the only one that wants IDP, that could be tough. But if everybody else is down, I'm down, right? I'm flexible. Let's see what the people want. That's what we're going to do.
Our listeners and our watchers are educated Renaissance men and women. Okay, these people love defense. Trust me,
I believe it.
I can feel it.
For the record, Rumble is only offense for now, so I want to sure clarify that. That's why we weren't talking defense for Rumble, because from what I've heard, Rumble is still going to be sticking with offense only. But
IDP, you can still game that. You can still game that by getting some of these moments to burn, to get some of these more exclusive offensive moments. Again, it's where football there's so many pieces, you know what I mean? In fantasy, we hone in on running back, quarterback, blah, blah. But like little things like this, own the moment, NFTs, it just makes you realize like it's really complex. You know what I mean? And if you like
Yep.
puzzles, that's what I like. It's like a puzzle to me. It's like a
Yes.
moving puzzle. And I love it. I love it. This is
Yes.
another way. And I like puzzles. So if I can solve a puzzle and then be rewarded for it, come on. Come on. So
Yeah.
I
So if you're
like,
listening and you want in, come on in, send us a DM, any one of us, either me, Jordan, or the fantasy, the all day both ways handle, I should say. Just put fantasy league. I'm in, like whatever you want to do.
Mhm.
If you have questions about it, of course, let us know. We'll probably, like we just said, we'll wait till most people are together and get there in sleeper. But I
Yep.
think it's going to be a fun time. I think we're going to have a great time. And I'm looking forward to dishing out some moments to people that are following us. If you really want some free stuff and literally don't have to invest anything but time and energy into that, I am gladly giving out a ton of moments this year. So come along, join the league, and let's have a good time. So with that, I think that puts us to our third down, which again, one of my favorite parts of the show, where we're actually going to open a live pack again. This is some of the most exciting stuff that we get to do, and I'll be honest, it is probably the most fun that I like as well, because opening packs is always just such a good time. Like
It is.
I don't know, I can't help it. It's just too much fun for me. So we're going to put this one up here. It's another hot route pack from a few weeks ago.
Let me
I've
pull it
been
up.
holding on to these, trying to make sure that we have some left for these shows. You got me, Jordan? There we go. Perfect.
Gotcha.
All right. So you'll notice too again here. This is a Hot Route Series 2. We're going to claim and open right here live on the show.
Man,
Retrieving the
let's
pack. This
see.
process has gotten so much faster. I'm so excited. It's so much easier. Here we go. Let's open. Let's see what we get. Is that playing audio?
I don't hear anything.
Do
There
you
it
hear
is.
now or no?
I do now.
All right, we got 4 moments. That's okay. Let's see what we got here. 69.94. Juwan Johnson talking fantasy, right? Juwan Johnson could have some good fantasy value in Rumble this year in DFS. Let's see what this play is from Dalton. Oh, nobody on him. Oh my goodness, he makes it in there. That's crazy.
That was a hell of a play.
This is Inside the Pylon Series 2. 69.94. It's his all-day debut moment. So that's always nice, right?
He wanted to win. He wanted that one.
He wanted that one. I agree. We'll turn the audio off. You get the audio point of it. I don't want it to drown everything else out. But again, that's a terrific moment. Speaking of fantasy, let's see what we got here. Moment number 2.
Let's get a big sack.
Wandale Robinson. Another good fantasy moment inside the pylons again. Series 2. D Jones. Oh, he catches
Wide
it, collects
open.
it, gets it in the end zone. Hell of a run. And again, this is his all-day debut during his rookie year. Like he's got this triple badger here. This is not a bad one at all. So again, if you join our fantasy league, this moment might be yours. This might be one that we give out. It's hard to say. We'll see. But I don't mind that. That's a pretty good play. I like that.
That was a good route.
Next up, what do we got here for our third moment? 34-11. Devin Duvernay.
Nice.
Another inside the pylons play. Let's see what this one is. From Lamar Jackson.
I remember this one.
Nope. Corner. What a catch. My goodness. Look at that guy.
Rare.
That's a good one, man. I'm telling you what, that is a good one. It's a common moment, 34-11 out of 7,000, but it is, again, inside the pylons. All 3 of these, I think, have been inside the pylons. So we're building that collection. We're building that set. I like that. What do we got for our last one? 44-86. Isaiah Simmons, there's your
Simmons.
defense.
I bet this is a
Make
pick.
the stop, Series 2. His debut. I'm guessing he makes a stop here.
Is it a sack or is it a pick?
Oh, it's a sack of Russell Wilson.
Good boy.
Oh, no, Geno Smith. Sorry, Geno Smith.
Geno.
Yeah, of course. This is this season. I keep thinking it's 2 seasons. But yeah, so there we go. So to recap, for those of you listening, we got Juwan Johnson, Wandale Robinson, Devin Duvernay, and Isaiah Simmons in this pack. Again, not a bad pack. I'm pretty happy with that.
Yeah.
That's solid. And I think that's a ton of fun. Next up, though, we got to get to last thing for the day. Well, before I go far,
Jordan, you want me to pull
what do
this
you think about
down?
that pack? Yeah, what do
I
you
like
think about
that pack.
I mean,
my favorite moment. Whoa. My favorite moment from the pack was definitely Isaiah Simmons. I mean, I'm obviously going to be a little biased towards IDP, but big name player coming out. We haven't really seen him make those big plays, but you know, when you see a play like that and you kind of see the athleticism, I like that. You know, trending up. Hopefully this year, Cardinals need something to go right their way. You know what I mean? So if it's Isaiah Simmons, I'm, better for him. Juwan Johnson, that was an awesome moment. Those were all really good plays.
Yeah.
But I'm just going to show my defensive guys a little love. And the Cardinals will love, because all I ever do is dunk on the Cardinals because they suck.
Well, there you go. All right. Well, so now we're going to finish it out of here with our moment of the week. And again, we talked earlier about the playbooks that are happening, the divisional playbooks. So what I chose for our moment of the week this week is the Lamar Jackson reward from the AFC North playbook. It's the legacy moment, historical two. This is a rare moment. It's actually Lamar Jackson's only rare moment on the platform. He had a two commons and two legendaries. This is his now only rare moment, and it's against my Bengals, and it's a hell of a run in 2019, Week 10, against, again, like I said, against my Bengals. Just a terrific, dominating run. This is one that deserves to be on the platform. As much as I love my Bengals, I have to respect Lamar Jackson for this crazy game here. So again, I got this one. I completed the playbook, and I got it serial number 723 out of 999. Pretty happy with this one. So yeah, this was a fun playbook. A lot of people completed it. We got the full 999 out of it. And yeah, I'm pretty happy. But what do you think about this one, Jordan? What do you think about this play?
This is pretty cool. This is the one I think I got about 15 yards on. I like it. I mean, I had Lamar Jackson his MVP season. I have all these fantasy memories, but I had Lamar, I had Josh Allen, I had Jameis Winston that season. And I'll never forget one of my buddies who knows everything about football after the draft. He texted me. He's like, "You don't have a quarterback one on your team." He's like, "LOL, your team sucks."
Ooh.
If I remember right, let me go back here a second. Lamar was number one. I think Josh Allen was quarterback 5 that year, and I'm pretty sure Jameis was like quarterback 6 that season. So I've always kind of trusted my gut when it comes to quarterbacks, and Lamar was free that season. That was the thing about him that made him so incredible for fantasy was you got to build a whole fantasy team, and then with like the 18 or 12th, 13th, 14th pick, you got the quarterback one and running back one on your team.
He crushed it.
So that was good. I mean, that was a magical season for him. I'm glad I got to experience it IRL and fantasy, and I mean, good for him getting this moment. My current Lamar Jackson take is that this was almost 5 years ago, and thanks for the memories, bro. You ain't gonna be on any of my fantasy teams.
Well, his price is way higher than it was. That's the biggest part you mentioned too. Like you could get him for free, not anymore. Now you got to spend a ton of draft capital on him, and that's a lot of risk in my opinion. So I don't know if I'm down for that.
People try to talk up Todd Monken, and I'm like, you mean the guy who got like literally this barely 4K yards at a Baker Mayfield? Had a prime OBJ fully healthy and got him like 1,070 yards. He turned him into Michael Pittman. I mean, you might have well neutered the guy right on the spot when he showed up. And that's the guy you think is going to turn Lamar Jackson into some sort of prolific downfield passer? I'm sorry, but y'all buying wolf tickets out here if you think that's about to happen.
On that note, on the fantasy show, which we'll be talking more fantasy as we get into the season, I think we've done a really good job of setting this up and getting people onto the platform. I think where we're going to pivot and talk more about the second way instead of all day, all by itself, is all day fantasy. That's the second and the both ways that we want to talk about today. So I think we did a pretty good job here. I think it's time to punt out of here on 4th down and figure out what we're going to do on this next series. But Jordan, what do you think? Are you excited for our fantasy league? Are you excited for the Rumble? What are you looking at as a look back on this episode today?
I am. I'm excited to continue to grow with our community, get to know some people who are listeners, and commune with them, buy some packs with them, open packs with them, get some DMs going with them, get in some of these, the Sleeper had their own chats, but Discord, I know there's some Discord chats out there, and just get to know people. And again, like you said, the fantasy part of it is during the season, we're going to get these moments every week, so you're going to live the moment on Sunday, on your fantasy team. And then you're going to come back to us a couple of days later. And then we're going to talk about, are we going to get to relive this in a drop coming up? Or are we going to get this in a challenge, or how that work? So again, for me, it's about turning that once a week, sort of that religious moment of Sunday into a lifestyle type of thing where I can continue to commune with the people that I love and the things that I love. And hopefully, get a little comeuppance out of it, in the financial department, shall we say, or the fantasy department. I mean, again, we'll be talking about this before the show came on. There's going to come out with a way to display these moments eventually. And people are going to want them, featured very well if they've got that number one Tom
my shelf
Brady.
Right back here. That's where I want to put them, right up here. Yep,
so getting people ahead of the curve on these moments are good. These are the things that people are going to remember years down the road. I'm here for it. I'm happy to be a part of it. So,
and I'm glad to be in early. I've talked to a couple people about this that heard about it and then got kind of scared, or like they heard about the crash. And like, obviously when it first started, there was a ton of momentum and a ton of money spent. And then all those moments kind of cratered, but that tends to happen in NFTs anyway. So I always tell people, you wait for that to happen before you get in. That's what I did with a bunch of different things in projects that I've been involved with, where I'm like, I'm just going to keep an eye and see when I feel like it's at the floor. I'm telling you, we are right about at the floor right now, if not already, up on the way back. And so I think now is the time to jump in. So anybody who's listening to this, if you like fantasy football, if you like the content that Jordan and I both put out and want to get to know more about how to be a fan of football and own the actual moments you see on the screen that make you win your fantasy weeks, that's another thing I wanted to mention. I don't think I got into, but like, you can literally go back and pick, hey, I remember that play on Monday Night Football won me my week. Now I can own that moment and have it as part of my collection forever. That's pretty cool. So there's a ton of this that we're going to be talking about as we get through the rest of the summer here. But again, to recap, if you want to be in the league, send us a DM and hit us up on Twitter. We're doing contests all the time. I know we've got some different packs and things that we're going to be giving out this week, and we're not going to tell you when. You just got to be following on Twitter. It's the first few in. Sometimes there's a deadline. Sometimes there's not. We try to keep it lively, keep it free. And then again, join us on Discord, on the All Day Discord, on All Day Unlimited. We're on there too. And just come chat with us, hang out, and let's make this community a lot better place. So with that, follow us on Twitter at All Day Both Ways. You can follow me at Andrew Hall FF. You can follow Jordan at 50 Shades of Drunk. And anytime you got questions, hit us up. But for the most part, we're both ways. We're out of here. Nice to see you guys.
Take it easy, y'all. Fantasy, NFTs, NFL, all day, both ways. You know what it is.